Today, Snowball and I are going to read Aladdin and the Magic Lamp. Long ago, in the faraway land of Arabia, there lived a boy named Aladdin. Aladdin lived only with his mother, who didn't have much money. One day, when Aladdin was playing in the town square, a stranger asked him if he would like to earn some pocket money. Aladdin jumped at the chance. Now, the stranger was a magician, and for some reason he wouldn't tell Aladdin what the job was. He simply asked the boy to take a long walk with him. Aladdin followed, even though his mother had told him never to follow strangers. The pair traveled far outside the city gates, and then they stopped at the foot of a mountain. The magician lit a small fire and sprinkled on it a bag of powder from his pocket. At the same time, he mumbled some magic words. The ground trembled and opened up in front of them, revealing a staircase leading down to the cave. Aladdin couldn't believe his eyes. "Go down," ordered the magician. "At the foot of the steps you'll find an amazing garden. You'll find a lamp at the far side of the cave. Bring it to me at once." Then the magician gave the boy a ring and wished him good luck. Aladdin found everything as the magician had said, except for the lamp. The trees grew fruit made of gold and diamonds, and they twinkled on the cave walls, but there was no lamp. Suddenly, a red and gold carpet twinkled on the floor. Then it began to float upward. Aladdin realized that it was a magic carpet, and it seemed to want to help. The boy managed to climb over the floating carpet, and it moved toward the far corner of the cave. Sure enough, there sat the lamp on a sharp ledge sticking out of the wall. Aladdin grabbed it right away and ran back to the bottom of the stairs. The magician saw him and shouted, "Hurry, Aladdin, pass me the lamp!" Aladdin suddenly felt suspicious and frightened, and he bravely refused to give the magician the lamp. He began to wonder why the magician was so keen to get hold of the lamp when there were so many other riches in the cave. The magician flew into a rage. He sprinkled more powder into the fire and cast another spell, and the stone moved back into place, trapping Aladdin inside the cave. The truth is, the evil magician had heard stories of a lamp that would make him the most powerful man in the world. Though his magic books told him where to find it, he could only receive it from the hand of another. The magician had chosen poor Aladdin. For hours Aladdin cried for help. At last he clasped his hands in prayer, and in doing so he accidentally rubbed the ring the magician had given him. Suddenly a genie appeared. The genie announced to Aladdin, "I am the slave of the ring and will obey your every command." Aladdin replied, "Then get me out of this place, please." Right away the cave opened up and Aladdin found himself outside. When he finally arrived home, he told his worried mother everything. Now, as Aladdin and his mother were so poor, they decided to sell the lamp. Aladdin's mother rubbed it to wipe it clean. At that moment, another genie appeared, and he asked what she would like. Well, Aladdin's mother fainted away, but the boy grabbed the lamp and said, "Fetch us something to eat." The genie provided a feast right away. Aladdin and his mother sat eating for the rest of the day, but she begged her son to sell the lamp, wanting nothing to do with magic. Aladdin refused and used the lamp and his ring to bring fortune to the household, and so Aladdin and his mother lived in great comfort for a very long time. Years later, the ruler of Aladdin's land, the Sultan, ordered everyone to stay indoors while his daughter went to the swimming pool. Now Aladdin, who had grown into a handsome young man, longed to see her face, which was difficult as the princess always wore a veil. On the day she was to travel, Aladdin hid behind a door and watched the princess. She looked so beautiful that Aladdin fell in love with her at first sight. Aladdin rushed home and told his mother of his new love. On hearing this, Aladdin's mother burst out laughing, but she obeyed her son's request to go before the Sultan and make his feelings known. She took the jeweled fruits from the enchanted garden as gifts for his majesty. The Sultan was truly amazed, but simply could not allow his daughter to marry a man who was not a prince. The Sultan proposed an impossible request for Aladdin, one that no man could ever fulfill. "Good woman, if your son is to marry my daughter, he must send 40 bowls full of jewels carried by 40 slaves in splendid dress." Aladdin's mother returned, thinking all was lost for her son. But Aladdin summoned the genie of the lamp, and within seconds the slaves arrived, filling the house. Aladdin sent them to the palace, and they knelt before the Sultan as Aladdin's mother presented them. The Sultan, stunned and impressed, gasped, "Good woman, return and tell your son I await him with open arms." While Aladdin heard the news, he called the genie once more. "I want a fine suit, a horse greater than the Sultan's, and 20 slaves to attend my mother and me." It was no more said than done. Aladdin mounted his horse and passed through the streets. The slaves scattered gold as they went. When the Sultan saw Aladdin, he embraced him and led him to a feast where the wedding would take place that day. Aladdin refused, exclaiming, "I must build the princess a palace first." He left in haste, but not before the princess had caught a glimpse of her future husband. Luckily for her, she too fell in love at first sight. The palace was finished the very next day, with the help of the genie, of course, so the princess was presented to Aladdin, and they exchanged their vows of marriage. As time went on, Aladdin was made captain of the Sultan's armies, and he won several battles. For many years, Aladdin and the princess lived in peace and happiness. Far away, the evil magician remembered Aladdin. With his wicked powers, he discovered the boy had not perished in the cave years ago, but was in fact living in great wealth. He knew the boy could have achieved this only by using the lamp. The magician thought of an evil plan. First, he bought 10 lamps from the market and put them in a basket. Next, he waited outside the palace until he saw Aladdin leave the grounds. Then he approached the palace door, shouting, "New lamps for old! New lamps for old!" The princess heard the magician, who was pretending to be an old fool. She felt sorry for him and gave him Aladdin's lamp. Of course, she had no idea of the lamp's secret power. The magician ran off as fast as he could. At nightfall, he rubbed the lamp. The genie appeared, and at the magician's command, he carried the magician, Aladdin's palace, and the princess to a lonely place far, far away. When Aladdin discovered his wife was missing, he went mad with worry. He asked everyone, but no one had seen her. At the end of the day, exhausted, he came to a river and knelt down to pray. In doing so, he rubbed the magic ring he'd been wearing all these years. The genie he had seen in the cave appeared and asked Aladdin for his wish. "Please," said Aladdin, "take me to my wife." Aladdin found himself beside his beloved princess. The couple greeted each other with such love. That night, they hatched a plan for their escape. Early the next morning, Aladdin sneaked out of the palace and to the nearest market, where he bought some sleeping powder. He returned through a side entrance where the princess met him. Next, the princess pretended to have a change of heart. She pretended that she no longer loved Aladdin and convinced the magician to share a pot of tea with her. When he wasn't looking, she put the sleeping powder in his cup. Within minutes, the magician fell asleep with the teacup still in his hand. The princess then opened the door to Aladdin, who quietly approached the evil magician and very gently took the lamp from his pocket. Right away, Aladdin asked the genie to take them and their palace back home. Meanwhile, the Sultan was staring out of his window, very worried about his daughter. Suddenly, he had to rub his eyes, for there stood the palace as before. From that day on, Aladdin and his wife lived in peace and happiness, never letting the lamp out of their sight. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.